Imagine this, a once mighty empire, spanning a quarter of the earth, crumbling under the weight of bankruptcy and colonial unrest. By 1965, populations under British rule plummeted from 700 million to a mere 5 million. How did the UK, a World War II titan, fade into obscurity? The sound of rusting ships groaning in harbors. The stench of decaying jet fuel lingering in abandoned bases. Tensions simmered as anti-colonial fires burned across Asia and Africa. But little did the world know, a phoenix was stirring in the shadows. That decline hit hardest after the Cold War ended in 1989. Defense budgets slashed mercilessly, 6% in 92, 4% in 93, climbing to a staggering 7% drops in 95 and 97. GDP share dwindled from 4.1% to 2.4%. Soldiers felt the chill of reduced ranks, army numbers plunging to 116,000, the lowest since the 1800s. The British Army of the Rhine halved from 55,000 to 25,000 by the late 90s. Units disbanded, leaving hollow echoes in parade grounds. Regiments dissolved, their flags folding like wounded wings. The RAF, once dominant, saw tornado squadrons shrivel. Fleet shrank to a third of its Cold War size. The whir of Phantom IIs silenced early. By 2003, destroyers and frigates dropped from 50 to a paltry 31, only 26 operational. Minesweepers vanished, submarines decommissioned amid creaking hulls. Suddenly, Britain was just a sideshow. Its allies questioned, could this faded power ever return? Whispers grew of secret rebirths behind fortified doors. No massive recruits here, just innovation's spark. Quality over quantity. Scientists and engineers huddled, forging a revolution. The Tempest project emerged in 2015, unveiled in 2018. Due by 2035? A sixth-generation beast, crafted by BAE Systems and Rolls-Royce with Leonardo's Italian flair. Targeting both RAF and Italian forces. Modular design. Delta wings. Vertical stabilizers. Stealth cloaking radar beams. Even unmanned flight capability. AI weaving through data streams. Radar receivers, 4 times sharper, 90% smaller. Swarm drones buzzing like angry bees. Lasers piercing armor with surgical heat. Faster, smarter than past jets, could rivals even dream of this edge? Britain aimed to dominate skies again, the phoenix shedding its worn feathers. But air supremacy wasn't enough. The Royal Navy yearned for resurgence too. New frigates loomed, Type 26 and Type 31. Type 26, or City class, replaced aging Type 23s from the 80s. Anti-submarine warfare kings, also masters of air defense. Shared with Canada and Australia, yet Britain led the blueprint. Advanced sonar pulsing underwater. Vertical launchers firing thunderously. Modular weapons adapting on the fly. Decoys unfolding like deceptive fog. Type 31 elevated it further, over £300 million each. Rolls-Royce diesels purring with unrelenting power. Generators humming support. Swift maneuvers slicing waves. Endurance against storms. Awareness of electronic shadows. Warfire prowess unmatched. These ships redefined naval might, Britain's flag snapping proudly over oceans. No longer chasing titans, but leading the fleet. Could adversaries match this aquatic rebirth? Ground forces felt the groundswell too. Though the text cuts off here. Imagine Britain's army evolving with cutting-edge tech, regiments reborn. The chill of decline beneath boots. Sparking into a forge of innovation. Key projects like scramjet drones or next-gen tanks poised to humiliate doubters worldwide. NFR-90 frigate pullout reversed with domestic giants. Nimrod's scrapped AEW dreams revived in synthetic allies. By 2016, budgets dipped below 2% GDP, but the tide turned unseen. Britain, from weakest links to world leaders. What twist lays hidden in these ashen remains? Will the empire find its fire once more? The metallic tang of victory lingers. As allies whisper in awe, or foes tremble in fear. After the Cold War ended in 1989, the United Kingdom faced an even steeper drop in military strength. The world appeared to settle into an era of peace. Britain, with its island fortress, seemed safe from invasion or attack. Why invest heavily in a military that seemed unnecessary? These questions fueled a wave of austerity. During the 1990s, defense budgets were slashed repeatedly. Funding declined by 6% in 1992, another 4% in 1993, 5% in 1994, a staggering 7% in 1995, then another 2%, and finally 7% again in 1997. As a share of the nation's economy, defense spending shrank from 4.1% at the decade's start to just 2.4%. The impact was devastating across all branches. The Army's active personnel plunged to around 116,000, its lowest since the 1800s. Historic regiments were disbanded or cut. The British Army of the Rhine saw troop numbers cut from 55,000 to merely 25,000 by the late 1990s. The Royal Air Force faced similar cuts, fighter squadrons shrank, and flight fleets diminished to just a third of their Cold War size. Aircraft like the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, once pillars of the RAF's fleet, were retired early. The Royal Navy experienced even more dramatic reductions. The number of destroyers and frigates fell from about 50 to only 31 by 2003, with just 26 deemed operational. Submarine fleets shrank, and mine countermeasure units were vastly reduced. R&D suffered as well, with dozens of projects shelved or cancelled altogether. Among them was the Nimrod AEW-3, a proposed airborne early warning aircraft, cancelled in the late 1980s. The military's decline was palpable, metal rusted. Equipment outdated. The UK had become a shadow of its former global superpower, relegated to a minor role on the world stage. The question hung in the air, would Britain's military strength ever recover from this long slide? Once a global military superpower, Britain's strength faded dramatically over the decades. Its forces dwindled, assets vanished, and influence waned. By the early 2000s, the Navy's fleet shrank from 50 to just 31 ships, with only 26 operational. Submarines, mine clearance units, and advanced projects were cut or cancelled outright. Imagine the iconic Nimrod AEW-3 aircraft, designed to give Britain airborne radar coverage, completely scrapped in the late 80s. Plans to upgrade aircraft like the Tornado were scaled back, and participation in NATO's NFR-90 frigate program was abandoned. This left Britain's military stretched thin, resources scarce, manpower depleted. Maintenance suffered, training was cut back, widening the capability gaps that haunted the forces for years. The once mighty empire, which once ruled over a quarter of the world's landmass, was reduced to shadows of its former self. Can you feel the decline? The sounds of a fading power, ships docking for good, aircraft rusting in the hangars, soldiers in outdated gear, became the new norm. As time went on, the decline deepened. Defense budgets kept shrinking, viewed as a luxury rather than a necessity. Military bases closed, recruitment targets were missed, and assets were sold or scrapped. British forces deployed abroad lacked modern equipment, fighting with gear that was already outdated half a century ago. The world was watching, questioning, will Britain ever regain its military relevance? By 2016, defense spending fell below 2% of national output. It seemed the glory days were long gone. The once indomitable global power looked to be slipping into history books. But then, quietly, behind closed doors, a new plan began to take shape. A revolutionary shift was on the horizon. The nation's military, hidden from the public eye, was preparing for a radical rebirth. Little did anyone know, this was just the beginning of Britain's dramatic comeback. Who still remembers Britain's legendary power? Could it really rise from the ashes? The stakes had never been higher. The game was about to change forever. In the shadow of once unstoppable might, Britain's resources grew perilously thin. Her days as a military giant felt buried in dusty tomes of yesteryear. Yet, unseen by prying eyes, transformation ignited in hushed labs and hidden bunkers. Whispers of revival stirred among the elite minds of the globe. And as this clandestine rebirth unfolds, a blazing phoenix promises to seize the heavens anew. What if Britain unleashed a fighter jet so revolutionary, it left global rivals scrambling in humiliation, their outdated wings clipped before they even took flight? Picture the deafening roar of engines piercing the sky, the acrid scent of burnt fuel lingering in the air, the bone-rattling shudder of thrust coursing through the ground, a machine born to shatter the status quo. Deep within this covert rebirth, Britain embraced a radical upheaval. Innovation over sheer numbers would forge her path. No frantic calls for swelling armies or stockpiling armored behemoths. Instead, she aimed to redefine confrontation itself. Forging audacious tools and cutting-edge marvels, she sought to reclaim her razor-sharp advantage. Once again, she'd stand as the vanguard of warfare's evolution. En masse, brilliant minds converged: scientists, programmers, and artisans. They birthed a flagship endeavor. Symbolizing Britain's resurgence, a sixth-generation fighter emerged. Destined to incite global envy, it bore the name Tempest. Design sparked in 2015. The program officially debuted in 2018. By 2035, Britain envisions this masterpiece aloft. Crafted by base systems for the Royal Air Force and Italy's Air Force, aided by Rolls-Royce, the Ministry of Defense, and Leonardo, the Tempest surges as humanity's pinnacle of aviation. Its adaptable blueprint conquers diverse missions, mastering every imaginable aerial feat. Delta wings meet vertical stabilizers. Advanced cloaking blends with autonomous flight. Embedded artificial intelligence evolves through deep learning. A radar safeguard, quadruple the precision of predecessors, shrinks to 90% of their bulk. Swarm commands harness drone clouds. Laser beams deliver devastating accuracy. Far superior in intellect and velocity to past British creations, the Tempest heralds her triumphant return. Elite specialists toil relentlessly to meet the 2035 mark. And with its advent, the Royal Air Force soars reborn, a legendary eagle dominating the blue expanse. But this skyward dominion merely scratches the surface. Britain plots seismic overhauls across every force branch, Navy waves and Army horizons beckoning. Will these silent gambits crush doubts, or conceal a storm of unforeseen betrayals? In the last chapter, we saw the United Kingdom plot a secret revolution to revive its military might, focusing on the groundbreaking Tempest fighter jet, armed with stealth tech and AI to dominate the skies. Yet, amid the roar of engines and the whir of drones, Britain dreamed bigger, reclaiming dominance on land and sea. Can a nation once on the edge of irrelevance truly humiliate its rivals with cutting-edge warships that echo the thunder of forgotten empires? Imagine the salty spray of the ocean, the distant clang of metal hulls, and the weight of history pressing down like a storm. But what if those very ships held the power to unleash chaos on enemies who dared underestimate the reborn Royal Navy? Britain's comeback wasn't just a whisper in the wind, it was a promise etched in steel by elite minds pushing boundaries. The world's sharpest engineers and coders, huddled in shadowed labs, ensured the Tempest project hit its mark by 2035. When it takes flight, picture a phoenix erupting from ashes, its wings slicing through clouds with invincible grace. The Royal Air Force would soar supreme once more, a stark twist that leaves rivals trembling in disbelief. Yet Britain's revival isn't confined to the heavens, it thrusts into every corner of defense, rewriting rules for Navy and Army alike. Bit by bit, the Royal Navy claws back from ruin. New frigates loom on the horizon, the Type 26 and Type 31 vessels born from desperation and genius. The Type 26, or City class, replaces the 1980s Type 23, engineered for hunting submarines in murky depths. Its hull cuts through waves like a predator. Senses vibrating with advanced sonar that detects threats before they echo back. Shared among UK, Canada, and Australia, Britain leads the design charge, injecting innovations that redefine naval wars. Vertical launchers unleash storms of missiles, modular weapons adapt to any foe, decoys scatter like smoke on a battlefield. And the Type 31? Priced over £300 million, or £396 million each, it's powered by Rolls-Royce engines that hum with relentless might. This ship masters speed, dodging currents with feline agility, endurance pushes limits in endless patrols, electronic warfare jams signals like a ghostly fog, firepower rains destruction accurately. These frigates aren't mere tools, they symbolize a bold shift. No more trailing behind giants, Britain pioneers ships that inspire global fleets. Flashback to the old days, feel the chill dockyard air biting your skin, the oily tang of machinery mixing with sea salt as weary sailors repaired creaking decks almost a century ago, when cutters forged warrior spirits. But now, these beasts rise, humiliating adversaries who once sneered at England's diminished navy. Is this the calm before a naval storm that could redraw maps and crush invaders under colossal waves? Cliffhanger, as the sun sets on a revitalized fleet, whispers spread of ground forces awakening, tanks designed to obliterate, not just defend. But what hidden flaw might shatter this delicate rebirth, exposing Britain to a devastating betrayal from within? Tune in to uncover the Challenger 3's armored fury and the shocking vulnerability lurking beneath its steel plates. Britain's military transformation is unfolding at a breathtaking pace, reshaping the landscape of global power. Once a dominant force, it slipped into obscurity after countless cuts and shrinking assets. But now, an extraordinary revival is underway, driven by groundbreaking innovations and strategic alliances. The question is, how did a nation so diminished reignite its military fire? In recent years, the UK's defence capabilities have surged back from the brink of decline. Cutting-edge projects are transforming its armed forces into a formidable force to reckon with. Among these is an advanced laser system capable of targeting with pinpoint accuracy, hitting a small coin from a kilometre away. This weapon, powered by innovative British technology, can cut through obstacles with an intense, focused beam of light. Imagine that, firing for just 10 seconds costs less than heating a typical room for an hour. It's a game changer. These energy weapons can engage targets at the speed of light, deploying precision strikes with minimal cost. This revolutionary tool is not just a fancy gadget, it's a long-term, affordable substitute for many missile tasks. The operating expense per shot? Less than £15. Britain is no longer just catching up. It's redefining warfare, leading the way into a new era of lasers and directed energy weapon systems. But Britain recognizes it's no longer the imperial giant it once was. Its global reach is limited, and it operates alongside larger powers. Yet, it understands the importance of strength through alliances. That's why, in 2021, it formed a powerful partnership with the United States and Australia, the AUKUS Alliance. This tripartite bond unlocks access to American nuclear submarine technology, bolstering Britain's naval might with next-generation vessels capable of projecting power across the oceans. It's a bold move, symbolizing Britain's re-emergence on the military stage. Alongside this, the UK has established a formidable military presence in strategic locations. One such outpost is Camp Viking, nestled in Norway, a vital foothold along NATO's northern flank. Additionally, Britain has signed new defense agreements with Japan and maintains rotating forces in key global hotspots. These moves are part of a calculated strategy to regain lost ground and position itself as a leader on the world's military chessboard. The return of Britain's military might is no longer a distant dream, it's happening now, driven by futuristic tech, strategic partnerships, and determined vision. As the world watches, one question remains: how far can this nation go, reborn from the ashes, to claim its rightful place among the global superpowers? In the previous segment, Britain intensified its global military resurgence, deploying troops in Norway for a formidable NATO presence. It forged defense deals with Japan and established rotating forces in key locations worldwide. Gradually, the nation evolved from a struggling power into one of the planet's most dynamic and inventive military entities. Imagine a question that could shatter the confidence of any rival. What if the UK, once dismissed as fading, now fields undetectable subs that lurk beneath oceans for months, outsmarting enemies with silent precision? This isn't fantasy, it's Britain's arsenal awakening, where nuclear dread sends chills down spines, and unseen forces redefine dominance. Picture the cold, metallic hiss of hydrophilic engines cutting through icy depths, the damp salt air clinging to steel hulls, a tactile grip on armored hatches that could unleash chaos in an instant. Who dares underestimate this rebirth now? And this ascent shows no signs of halting anytime soon. Recent times bring renewed growth in defense budgets. The UK targets lofty yet attainable goals. They aim for over 4% of GDP on defense by 2027. By 2035, that climbs to 5%. The nation has created a fresh defense and intelligence outfit. It's called the National Cyber Force, or NCF. This force prepares the UK to counter cyber threats and digital spying. Plus, it equips Britain to launch virtual offensives. Thus, the country fully enters an era where cyber tactics dominate warfare. Think of glowing screens pulsing in darkened rooms. The sharp click of keyboards echoes like distant gunshots. Hackers' fingers tap with electric tension, unraveling foes through invisible webs. Beyond that, Britain clutches two major advantages. First, the Special Air Service, or SAS. It's hailed as among the globe's top special forces. Details stay shrouded about troop counts, gear, or missions. Yet, the SAS stands out as relentlessly efficient. These operatives execute global tasks. They dismantle terror networks. They rescue captives. They avert disasters. Through decades of military contraction, the SAS stayed a pinnacle lethal tool in the West. Imagine gritty boots crunching over rocky terrain. Harsh winds whip faces during raids. The scent of gunpowder lingers after precision strikes. The second edge, arguably the grandest, lies in nuclear status. Britain ranks among 9 possessors of such power. Its stockpile may not dwarf others. It holds about 225 warheads. But it might soon boast the finest deterrent ever. Enter the Dreadnought-class submarine. This replaces the Vanguard class around 2030. It's a cutting-edge ballistic missile sub. It pushes limits of concealment and resilience. It harnesses innovations like quantum navigation and AI systems. These vessels glide undetected. They endure pressures crushing like an iron fist. The rumble of engines vibrates through hulls. Salty spray stings skin in rare surface glimpses. Enemies scan endless waters in vain, haunted by the thought, is this silent blade targeting them? And what if this sub's quantum leaps humiliate outdated foes? Their proud fleets rendered obsolete toys? Will Britain's shadow empire crush challengers in twisted reversals, or lurk forever in the abyss? The United Kingdom, once a global military titan, is staging a remarkable comeback. Decades ago, it was a superpower that shaped the course of history in both world wars. Its navy ruled unstoppable seas, and its empire spanned a quarter of the planet. Today, the question is, can Britain reclaim its lost glory? Imagine the thunder of historic battles, the roar of ships slicing through ocean waves, the buzz of fighter jets soaring high above, and the feel of cold steel in hand. Yet, as the 20th century progressed, everything shifted. Britain's influence waned. Defense budgets shrank, and its mighty forces faded into shadows. Its navy, once feared worldwide, now looked fragile, a ghost of its former self. By the mid-1990s, the decline accelerated. The army's numbers dwindled to their lowest since the 1800s, and historic regiments vanished. The Royal Air Force's fleet shrank to a third of its Cold War size. The Royal Navy's fleet reduced dramatically, a fraction of what it used to be. Cutting-edge projects were shelved, military innovation slowed to a crawl. Britain's global standing dimmed, becoming a minor player in an increasingly complex world. Flashback to a damp, cold morning in 1997, metal clanked, engines whined softly, and a sense of uncertainty lingered. The once mighty military felt like a relic of the past. Meanwhile, threats grew louder. Other nations modernized, while Britain watched from the sidelines. Its defense budget fell below 2% of the total economic output, a record low. Many wondered if the country could ever reclaim its military dominance. But something changed behind closed doors. Secret plans and innovations laid the groundwork for a resurgence. Britain aimed not to grow larger but smarter. Focus shifted from quantity to cutting-edge technology, redefining warfare itself. Teams of engineers and scientists dedicated themselves to one mission: bring Britain back to the top. The first sign of this new era appeared with the creation of the Tempest, the most advanced fighter jet Britain has ever built. Initiated in 2015, unveiled in 2018, and slated for 2035, this aircraft promises to dominate the skies. With delta wings, stealth technology, and even unmanned capability, the Tempest is a marvel. It incorporates artificial intelligence, radar systems 4 times more accurate, and laser weapons for precise combat. Imagine a jet that can fly without a pilot, detecting threats from miles away, and delivering devastating strikes all while remaining unseen. This technological revolution isn't limited to the air. Britain's Navy is transforming too. 2 new frigates, the Type 26 and Type 31, are reshaping the seas. The Type 26, designed for anti-submarine warfare and multi-mission support, is a successor to the aging Type 23. It boasts advanced sonar, missile launchers, and modular weapon systems, giving it unmatched versatility. The Type 31, powered by cutting-edge Rolls-Royce engines, combines speed, endurance, and electronic warfare capabilities set to make Britain a leader on the water. Each new vessel signals a bold shift. Once on the fringes of naval power, Britain is now leading, setting models for others to follow. The Royal Navy is no longer just catching up, it's leaping ahead into a new era of dominance. And what about the ground forces? Britain is not waiting. By 2025, the government announced aggressive plans. Military lethality will increase tenfold in 10 years, surpassing limits through innovative use of drones, autonomous systems, and digital technology. Surveillance, rapid deployment, and precision strike capabilities are being prioritized. Reflecting on recent conflicts, such as in Ukraine, Britain is fast-tracking the integration of drone swarms and hybrid warfare technologies, preparing for future conflicts where these tools will be crucial. The nation's strategic approach is clear. It aims to take a leading role in NATO, reviving nuclear capabilities, advancing new military tech, and modernizing traditional forces. The future is about hybrid fleets, autonomous weapon systems, and a formidable defense infrastructure that combines speed, stealth, and intelligence. This isn't a return to past imperial glories or a meek shadow of history. Britain is forging a new identity, hyper-connected, technologically advanced, ready to face any challenge. It's a transformation built on precision, innovation, and resilience. Behind the scenes, a new Britain is rising, set to redefine what it means to be a military superpower in the 21st century. The question remains, how far can this incredible revival go? The United Kingdom has undergone a remarkable transformation. Gone are the days of a declining superpower overshadowed by larger nations. Today, Britain is rearming at an unprecedented pace, investing heavily in cutting-edge technology and advanced weapons systems. The goal? To reclaim its position as a global military leader. Every branch of the armed forces is evolving. Air, sea, and land are being reinvigorated with innovations that once seemed impossible. Picture the roar of engines as the new fleet of ships slices through the waves, or the stealthy glide of the upcoming 6th-generation fighter jet soaring silently across the skies. Britain's military renaissance is not just about strength, it's about mastering precision, intelligence, and adaptability. This revitalization isn't just a response to threats, it's a statement. The UK is positioning itself to dominate future conflicts, just as it did during its empire-building era. The question is, what secret technologies are fueling this new surge? The answer might be more shocking than anyone expects. The story of Britain's comeback is filled with fierce competition, technological breakthroughs, and high-stakes ambitions. Imagine the sound of the wind rushing past futuristic vessels designed for stealth missions, or the tactile vibration of launch systems preparing to strike. Behind closed doors, teams of scientists and engineers are working tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of military prowess. Their goal? To ensure Britain remains unseen yet unstoppable, an unseen force ready to defend its interests, and perhaps more importantly, to strike first if necessary. This is more than a military rebuild, it's a rebirth of a nation's power. With plans for revolutionary aircraft like the Tempest fighter, a fighter jet with artificial intelligence, stealth capabilities, and unmanned operation, Britain aims to dominate the skies. Its design incorporates cutting-edge radar systems, laser weapons, and swarming drone technology. All these innovations are set to turn the tide of future aerial combat, restoring Britain's supremacy in the world's most advanced skies. But Britain's ambitions extend well beyond the air. The Navy is transforming, with new frigates that redefine naval warfare. The Type 26 and Type 31 ships are packed with modular weapons, state-of-the-art sonar, and missile systems. Their sleek lines cut through the ocean, ready to defend and project power at a moment's notice. These vessels signal a new era of dominance, not just playing catch-up but leading from the front. And on the ground, the Army is incorporating revolutionary surveillance, autonomous systems, and digital battlefield technologies. Britain's military might is growing in strength and sophistication. The air, sea, and land forces are seamlessly connected, creating a modern military network that's faster, smarter, and more deadly than ever before. Perhaps most shocking of all, Britain is also investing heavily in its nuclear deterrent, the Dreadnought-class submarines. These next-generation stealth subs are powered by revolutionary AI and quantum navigation systems, making them nearly impossible to detect. With such technology, Britain's nuclear shield is more formidable than ever, capable of remaining hidden at sea for months. It's the ultimate insurance policy in a volatile world. Today, Britain is no longer a fading shadow of a global empire. It's a nation poised to dominate the battlefield once again, driven by innovation, strategic foresight, and relentless ambition. Its military overhaul is not just rebuilding but reinventing itself into a force that will shape the future of global security. The question remains, are the world's enemies prepared for Britain's new era of dominance? Or will they be caught unprepared by a force reawakened and more formidable than ever before?